being purchased by Warner Brothers and reformed into NetherRealm Studios, Ed Boon and his team had delivered success after success with their fighting games. Mortal Kombat 9 brought the classic stories into modern times, and Mortal Kombat X introduced a new generation of fans with a solid selection of new cast members and old favourites. They announced Mortal Kombat 11 at the Game Awards of 2018, showcasing a trailer that teased classic designs of characters, customization, and also a brand new villain. Mortal Kombat 11 released a few months later in early 2019, available on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Switch, making this the first Mortal Kombat available on the Nintendo platform since Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Mortal Kombat 11 continues the same 2.5D one-on-one fighting structure that was redesigned in MK9, and also continues the same rules and controls from MKX, just now with a slower pace, mainly due to the exclusion of the run feature once again, which certainly takes some getting used to after coming from that previous game. The graphics have had a major step up, now coming with more brighter colours and lighting, and character models featured more detailed pores and stretching of the skin, making them almost lifelike. The power meter has now been replaced with two gauges that sit in the corner of the screen, one for defensive moves and one for amplifying your special attacks. These now filling over time instead of having to beat on your opponent to make them fill up. Your X-ray attacks have been replaced by fatal blows, which are very similar animations, but instead of displaying the vitals and skeleton of your opponent, they just now serve to show off the game's new blood features, spraying liquid everywhere. You have the chance to use your fatal blow only when your health is below 30%. You are limited to using your fatal blow once per match, unless it misses, in which you'll have to wait a short time as a penalty before it becomes available to use again. Short X-ray styled attacks do still see a return as new crushing blows, these being a critical hit variation of a special move triggered when certain requirements are met. MK11 retains the stage interactions from MKX, which were really well received. These now deplete half of your defensive gauge, and they can also be altered with a second button input to change directory of throwable objects or even your jump style from a wall. The game also sees the return of fatalities, brutalities, and mercies from MK Trilogy. The fatalities were the most extreme that the series has ever seen, in some cases even more so than MKX. These extremities caused the game to get banned in some countries like China and Japan. In fact, the fatalities were so alarming that a developer on the game reported to media outlet Kotaku that some of their team had to receive therapy whilst working on the game, as they suffered trauma caused by exposing themselves to violent and graphic research materials in order to make these fatalities as realistic looking as possible. Now, the character variation system from MKX was expanded upon in 11, now giving you the control to the player, allowing you to create up to 5 different variations for your characters. You can now customize their appearance, choosing from different items, equipment, and color variations. You can also customize their entrance animations, victory animations, and even their special attacks, choosing from a large range of options, really making each character and each variation your own. To unlock more gear, you need to either play the new Towers mode, unlock them in the new Crypt, or by purchasing them with premium currency from the rotating in-game store. For modes, MK11 feels like a bit of a step back from previous entries. In terms of versus, you have all of your features from MKX, such as local battles that can be played against AI, online battles with King of the Hill and tournament modes, and there's an additional AI battle mode in which you can manage statistics of an AI team and have them battle against other players' teams online. The training mode has been deepened in a great way, with it coming with advanced sessions that teach you everything from special move cancels, jump-in attacks, hopping, dash cancelling, flawless blocks which reduces how much chip damage that you receive on a block, and even explains different frame data. There's also independent character tutorials that teach you each character's special moves and combos, feeling very much like the old Deadly Alliance Conquest feature. The towers have been expanded upon from MKX, with Towers of Time being the new feature. These are very much like MKX's challenge towers, having different stipulations and rewards for each tower, and they rotate often with different towers and unlocks. If you want to unlock all of the game's content, then grinding through these is what will take up most of your playtime. In addition to the Towers of Time, there is the return of the Arcade Towers, which features the new final boss, Kronika, and an ending for each character that explains what they have now done with their new command over time itself. And there is also the return of the Endless and Survivor Towers from MKX. However, there are no minigames here such as the Test Your Might or the Kart Combat Racing from the older titles. The main single player feature is once again the fully animated and voiced story mode that continues from the end of Mortal Kombat X, no longer having the QuickTime events from that last entry. It begins with Dark Raiden torturing Shinnok at his Sky Temple, blasting him with his red electricity. Raiden is now in possession of Shinnok's amulet and plans to use it to threaten his enemies before they have any intentions of invading Earthrealm again. Raiden declares to the weakened Shinnok that there are fates worse than death and slices his head clean off. Due to Shinnok's immortality, he is still alive. When Raiden leaves, Shinnok is met by his mother, the Titan of Time, Kronika. She arrives only to tell Shinnok about her plans to uproot what Raiden has done, and she has been supervising the events of Mortal Kombat since the very beginning. When she leaves, the events in the MKX after credit scene will then play out, with Raiden taking Shinnok's head to the Revenants Liu Kang and Kitana, who now rule the Netherrealm, as an example if they should ever try to harm Earthrealm. 2 years later, whilst Cassie Cage is getting promoted to Sergeant, Raiden arrives to plan an invasion of Liu Kang's fortress and destroy Shinnok's chambers, which is the seat of their power. Johnny knows that the plan is wrong, and he stays behind in Earthrealm. Raiden with the Special Forces declare war on Netherrealm, and he creates a diversion by attacking the army of demons with Shinnok's amulet. Meanwhile, Sonya, Cassie and Jackie infiltrate the fortress and do battle with the Revenants and demonic forces, with there being some amazing fighting choreography. Liu Kang collapses the ceiling on Sonya, trapping her under the rubble. Holding onto the C4 detonator, Sonya sacrifices herself for the mission, pulling the trigger and causing the Special Forces to evacuate. Raiden takes the survivors back to Earthrealm, praising Sonya's sacrifice. However, Cassie and Johnny do not share his sentiments. Meanwhile, in the Netherrealm, Kronika arrives and undoes everything that Sonya just sacrificed herself to achieve. This has Liu Kang and Kitana join her cause to redesign this new era where Raiden will no longer exist. In Outworld, Kotal Kahn has rounded up the last of Shao Kahn's loyal followers. The Collector is brought into the Colosseum to be executed. As he rises to execute him, Kronika begins her time manipulation, which pulls various characters from the past into the present, creating a temporal crisis. In the arena, Scarlet, Erron Black, Baraka, Kano, Shao Kahn, Liu Kang, Kitana, Kung Lao, Jade and Raiden all reappear, coming from the moment when Kung Lao had defeated Shang Tsung and Kintaro at the second tournament. Whereas in Earthrealm, Dark Raiden ceases to exist, being erased from the timeline, and Shinnok's amulet drops to the floor. Past versions of Johnny Cage, Sonya and Jax also arrive through the time merger. A battle then erupts in Kotal's Colosseum, with Shao Kahn battling him over the throne. After being defeated by Kotal and his allies, present timeline Devourer arrives and rescues Shao Kahn and his followers, with them arriving at her hive, where Collector brings his Emperor up to speed on the events that have transpired since Shao Kahn's time. This is when Kronika shows up to enlist them all to her side, offering them esteemed positions in her new era. Meanwhile, back in Earthrealm, Liu Kang and Kung Lao investigate the Wuxi Academy on orders of Raiden. Upon arrival, they find that the Shaolin monks have been slaughtered. They battle a past version of Scorpion, who is currently sided with Kronika, and then come face to face with their own revenants that attempt to coerce the Shaolin masters to their side. But it does not work. Arriving at the Fountain of the Jinsei, they battle Kronika's right-hand man, Geras. But his time manipulation abilities are too strong, and he escapes with the Life Force. Back at the Special Forces, they discover that the ex-Lin-Kuei Grandmaster Sector has been revived by Kronika, and is rebuilding the Cyber Ninja factories to build her an army. Sub-Zero and Hanzo Hasashi team up to shut down Sector's factory, with Sub-Zero's old apprentice Frost among those who are aiding Sector. After battling the new supercar-looking Cyber Ninjas and defeating Sector, he is taken back to Kronika's Keep, where he is fixed up by Eren Black and double Kanos. Kronika seems to be still hiring and heads next to present-day Jax, who is still worrying about his daughter. Using this weakness, Kronika attempts him to her side and gifts him new cybernetic arms. Elsewhere, Raiden goes to the Elder Gods for help, only to discover that Kronika's daughter, the Elder God Cetrion, had betrayed and killed the other Elder Gods to serve her mother. Back in Outworld, Kotal Kahn and past Jade, who have some history together, go to a Tarkatan camp to ask for their help fighting against Shao Kahn. But Kotal's hatred towards the Tarkatans for their past loyalty to Melina in the Civil War almost has him execute them before Jade could intervene. She battles Kotal just as Shao Kahn appears and captures him. In Earthrealm, the Special Forces base is next to get attacked. The Black Dragon and Sector destroy the base, capturing the past versions of Johnny and Sonya, and Sector self-destructs, with the base going up in smoke. Due to this and the desecration of the Wuxi Academy's Sky Temple, the heroes are left with no choice but to rest at Hanzo Hasashi's Fire Garden. Cassie then leads a strike team to save her younger parents. Sonya is forced to fight in a Black Dragon fight club, but Cassie and the Special Forces burst in and rescue her and Johnny. Sonya and Johnny end up battling the two Kanos, and using the time misplacement rule of what happens to the younger version affects the present one, Sonya shoots young Kano, which kills the present one too. Meanwhile, Kitana manages to secure an alliance with Baraka and his Tarkatans and the newly appointed Queen Shiva and her Shokan. With their aid, Kitana successfully infiltrates the Outworld Colosseum before Shao Kahn could kill Kotal, and Kitana defeats her malevolent stepfather, blinding him with her fan blades. This act unites all of the Outworld factions, and Kotal gives the throne to her, making Kitana now the new Khan of Outworld. Raiden then sends Jax and Jackie to Shang Tsung's now abandoned island to retrieve Kronika's crown, which she uses to control her hourglass. However, the pair are thwarted by present Jax and Cetrion, who eventually escapes with the crown. Jax is ashamed for what he has done to his daughter, but tells her that he is trying to help her. Hanzo Hasashi is tasked with finding and convincing Charon, the ferryman, to join their side so that he may transport the heroes to Kronika's fortress. Hasashi fights the time-misplaced Scorpion and manages to persuade him to join his side, but as he does, Hanzo is attacked and fatally wounded by Devourer. Scorpion drives her away and returns to the Fire Garden to honour Hasashi's dying wish of changing his destiny. But once in Earthrealm, the heroes refuse to believe Scorpion and Raiden attacks him, using Shinnok's amulet. Liu Kang intervenes, causing Raiden, now possessed by the amulet, to battle his friend. The aftermath of the duel makes Raiden come to his senses, and he sees visions of many times that he has fought Liu Kang in other timelines, like at the Battle of Armageddon, or during Shao Kahn's invasion of Earthrealm. Kronika had orchestrated them all because she fears that their combined strength could overthrow her command of time. Anticipating this, Kronika arrives and kidnaps Liu Kang. With Charon, a joint Earthrealm Outworld army assaults Kronika's keep. Geras, Jax, Frost and the army of cyber ninjas attempt to stop the heroes from reaching her isle. However, present Jax realises what he has done and defects to the hero's side. Geras is dropped into the bottomless sea of blood, and Cyber Frost is shut down, disabling the other cyber ninjas. In Kronika's keep, Revenant Liu Kang absorbs his past self's soul, and then Kronika sends him to attack Raiden. The Thunder God manages to best his old friend, and then does the unthinkable move and merges with him to become Fire God Liu Kang. With these newfound abilities and strength, Liu Kang blasts through Kronika's forces and breaches her keep. Kronika rewinds time, however it doesn't affect Liu Kang. He defeats the remaining Revenants and Cetrion. Kronika then absorbs Cetrion's essence to strengthen herself, enough to reverse time back to the time when dinosaurs roamed the Earth, erasing all the events in the franchise from existence. Kronika and Fire God Liu Kang fight one final time to determine the fate of the new era, in a time-bending final battle that results in time collapsing and returning back to the primordial state of the universe. Liu Kang uses his powers to crystallize Kronika and then shatter her into pieces. Now, depending on how many rounds you lost, you will get one of 3 slightly different endings. However, in the canon ending, Liu Kang wins, Raiden arrives in his mortal form, and he offers to become Fire God Liu Kang's advisor for his new era. Now let's look at the roster we have with MK11. There are 24 base roster characters, with 3 of them being brand new for this entry. Returning characters include the legendary Scorpion, once a spectre hungry for vengeance. Now Hanzo Asashi leads a reformed Shirai Ryu clan that aids those in need. He finally gets new attacks that involve his kunai on a chain. Sub-Zero returns. Kuai Liang is now the Grandmaster and fights to clean the past wrongs of the Lin Kuei clan. That started with brokering peace with Hanzo Asashi and the Shirai Ryu, but now it means shutting down the old factories of the Cyber Ninjas. Raiden, the protector of Earthrealm, now corrupted by the malevolent power of Shinnok's amulet, he fights to do anything that ensures Earthrealm's freedom. Liu Kang, once the Chosen One, he defeated Shang Tsung, saving Earthrealm. However, after a misunderstanding with Raiden, he was killed and ended up being enslaved as one of Quan Chi's revenants. After Quan Chi's death, Liu Kang took over as the new leader of the Netherrealm alongside his queen, Kitana. B-list action star Johnny Cage is back, and with the time-bending storyline we get to see the classic Cage, which is full of his boastfulness and naivety. Also, very colourful outfits. There's the deadly arms dealer and Black Dragon enforcer Kano, complete with his knife combos, spin attack and grab moves. And the last member of the original cast, Sonya Blade, returns, a decorated sergeant of the Special Forces. Sonya is voiced by American professional wrestler Ronda Rousey. Making his debut back in MK2, Jax Briggs returns, now much older, and coming with the addition of being able to charge his bionic arms as you deal consecutive hits on your opponent. Kung Lao returns, now as a revenant employed by his new master Liu Kang to bolster Netherrealm's armies. Once Princess of Edenia, Kitana makes her return as an undead revenant and leader of the Netherrealm alongside Liu Kang. There's Baraka, the war chief of the nomadic Tarkatan tribes. Jade returns since MK9, now a revenant and follower of Kronika. She comes back with all of her iconic moves with her staff and glaive. Once he was Bi-Han, the Sub-Zero that was murdered by Scorpion in the first tournament. Then he was resurrected as a vengeful spectre known as Noob Saibot. He returns in MK11, no longer under Quan Chi's control, but now working for Kronika to claim his long-awaited revenge. First making his debut in MK3, the speedster Cabal makes his return, coming back with his hook blades. He was once half Black Dragon enforcer and then half reformed police officer, but now he's full-on revenant, working for Netherrealm's rulers Liu Kang and Kitana. First appearing in Deadly Alliance, Frost makes her playable return from the 3D era. Now she is Cyber Frost, having gone through the cyberization process and joined forces with Kronika in a bid to overthrow Kuai Liang and get her revenge on him for banishing her from the Lin Kuei. Making her second appearance after her debut in MK9, the once mythical female ninja Scarlet. She is a loyal and deadly bodyguard of Shao Kahn's and uses her power over blood to combat her opponents. Returning from MKX, there is Cassie Cage, the daughter of Johnny and Sonya, who recently defeated Shinnok. Cassie's ally, Jackie Briggs, also makes her return, having a much stronger design and moveset. She continues her fight to carry on her father's legacy and bring some great new moves to her arsenal. Savage Osh-Tech warrior that was once seen as a deity by the Aztec people, Shao Kahn wrestled the Outworld throne from Melina and now commands it, ready to protect his realm head-on from any threats. Devora returns, now serving Kronika, but only really is loyal to herself and her hive. And there's Erron Black, the outlaw who left Earthrealm with Kano and the Black Dragon, finding his new home in the violent lands of Outworld. For new playable characters, there is Geras, a construct created by Kronika to help her command the sands of time and carry out any tasks that she may need. A slave under her will, Geras is a fixed point in time, making him pretty much invincible, able to revive himself from almost any injuries. His moveset has him utilise time and his sand-based abilities. There's Collector, another of Shao Kahn's loyal subjects. The Collector is a member of the six-armed Naknadan race, and he was caught stealing riches from the people of Outworld. Impressed by his skills, Shao Kahn hired him as a member of his forces. And lastly, there is Cetrion, the elder goddess of virtue and guardian of life. She was among the gods who banished Shinnok to the Netherrealm millennia ago. Cetrion is also the daughter of Kronika, making her Shinnok's sister. She commands the balance of the universe, but sometimes when it is needed, she can shift her form into a more evil persona. Her moveset has her use the 4 elemental powers in quite creative ways. For side content, Mortal Kombat 11 brought back the Crypt for the 6th time, now evolving further from the dungeon crawler that we saw in MKX, to now being like a miniature third-person adventure. You take control of a character known only as the descendant of Apep, and he has arrived on the desolate island of Shang Tsung, where the first Mortal Kombat tournament took place. You work your way through the island, opening chests, interacting with some parts of the environment, and even solving puzzles and finding new items to progress further. There are some awesome secrets to find here, such as Rain battling Blaze in the background of where the pit stage takes place, the skeleton of Prince Goro sat in his throne inside his lair, and even Ermac and Kenshi make appearances, both meeting their demise. The Crypt is different now in that the chest rewards are, for the first time, randomised, meaning that you no longer search for which specific chests contain the items you want. This forces you to grind for coins in the game's other modes in order for you to find everything that you may want in the Crypt. There are also much less extra rewards in this game than previous entries, with there not being any like spoof videos or unlockable bonus content, only new skins, concept art, music tracks, and Tower of Time consumables. As for the Switch version, it was worked on by Shiver Entertainment. They got it to run in 1080p and at 60 frames per second, only dropping to 30 on the Fatal Blows. This only having a slight downgrade in terms of graphical fidelity, but other than that it's quite the same game. When you think about it, getting Mortal Kombat 11 to even run on an affordable, portable handheld system from 2017 makes it truly one of the most impressive Mortal Kombat ports to date. Post-launch, Shao Kahn was the game's pre-order bonus character, available as a separate purchase after the game's release. Shao Kahn is back, having been pulled through the time merger from the events during the second tournament. He comes with deeper spear moves and his classic hammer attacks. This is certainly his best playable appearance to date. Along with Shao Kahn came with a new premium currency, Time Crystals, that are used to purchase cosmetic items from the in-game store. The biggest setback with this, however, is the contents of the store change on a weekly basis, meaning if there's an item or skin that you're after, much like the Towers of Time, you will have to wait weeks or possibly months before it could appear in the store. Luckily, the post-content DLC skins allowed you to unlock some epic new costumes for a fee that you own straight away, including multiple colour variations. There was the classic arcade ninja pack, which featured attires for Sub-Zero, Scorpion and Noob Saibot, inspired by their classic ninja designs. A similar costume pack for the female ninjas, Kitana, Jade and Scarlet. There was a War Games outfit for Sonya, inspired by her original Mortal Kombat appearance in her green sports gear, and a similar outfit for Cassie Cage. And there was a classic fighter pack that featured skins for Jax, Kano and Kung Lao. There were seasonal costume packs such as the Summer Heat pack that featured Baraka as a barbecue cook and Erron Black in American flag attire. Horror-themed attire such as the Masquerade pack that has an awesome Witch Jade outfit, Calavera Liu Kang, and a Jason Voorhees-inspired Cabal outfit. The Gothic Horror set as a very fitting Frankenstein's monster skin for Geras, an Egyptian undead Cleopatra-like skin for Cetrion, and a Vampire Lord skin for Raiden. And the All Hallows Eve pack comes with a vintage nurse outfit for Devora, a Revenant Sub-Zero skin, and a Jock Werewolf transformation for Johnny Cage. The Matinee pack has an Oshtek skin for Kotal, Old Western theme for Erron Black, and an Ellen Ripley inspired costume for Jackie. The double feature pack contains a suit for Johnny Cage, Sarah Connor inspired costume for Sonya, and a Cyborg skin for Kano. A Ninja Mime costume was released later for Johnny Cage based on his hit action movie, and he also got a gold attire. There was later a Dimitri Vegas skin for Sub-Zero, who is an award-winning DJ from Belgium, and he himself provides new voice lines for Sub-Zero, which is pretty cool.
The Lin Kuei punish imposters.
I am the true Grand Master.
Only if you survive.
During the Joker event, there were a few skins inspired by other DC characters. Cassie Quinn had Cassie Cage dressed as Harley Quinn. Time Lord of Apocalypse had Geras with a design based on Darkseid. And the DC Elseworlds pack featured a Killer Croc skin for Baraka, a Catwoman outfit for Katana, and a very cool skin for Noob that is based on the evil alternate counterpart of Batman, known as the Batman Who Laughs. For the Spawn event, Jackie Briggs received an alternate skin called Hellspawn, and the final pack to purchase was the Classic Movie Pack, which saw skins for Raiden, Sonya Blade, and Johnny Cage, featuring their same attires and even actor likenesses from the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie, and they even came with new audio recorded by their original actors.
The fate of billions is in your hands.
So stand down and let me pass.
I must prepare you for combat.
Now, there were more costumes post-release, however the following were only available in certain countries or exclusive to certain editions of the game. You could maybe get some of these out of the RNG in-game store, but some you can't. The most popular is the Eternal Clash pack that featured MK9's Scorpion, Deception's Sub-Zero in his Shredder outfit, and Deadly Alliance Frost. There was also the Time Warriors pack, Gold Demon Scorpion, Avalanche Sub-Zero, a Brazil exclusive Kano skin, and one of the rarest, the Cold War Scarlet skin. Not only was this a Russia exclusive skin, but when it finally made its rotation into the in-game store, it was taken down as a result of the Russian invasion of Ukraine in February of 2022, having to have some symbols on the outfit redesigned. For post-launch characters, Kombat Pack 1 would see 6 new characters release one at a time between June 2019 to March 2020. The first was Shang Tsung, returning since MK9. He was voiced and featured the likeness of Hiroyuki Tagawa, who played the character back in the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie. Shang Tsung gets evolved takes on his famous moves, allowing him now to turn into past ninja characters like Reptile, Ermac, and Smoke. And one of his fatalities even has him transforming into the Shao Kahn, Kintaro. Hiroyuki Tagawa makes an incredible performance with Shang Tsung. He was born to play this role. The next character returning from MK9 was Nightwolf, the powerful shaman warrior who could be customized as being a human or a revenant. The first guest character was the Terminator, coming from the franchise of the same name. This character was promotion for the new movie at the time, Terminator Dark Fate, and thus features the design of the character from that movie. Actor Arnold Schwarzenegger provided the likeness and facial capture for the character, however Chris Cox did the voice over. Terminator is the T-800 model featuring advanced artificial intelligence and superior technology, hailing from a post-apocalyptic future. He was sent back in time and ended up in the Mortal Kombat universe. Terminator comes with his iconic lever-action shotgun and metallic skeleton. The Terminator accidentally travelled to the MK universe, however when he defeated Kronika and claimed her hourglass, he sought to create a world where his robots of the future actually cooperate and live alongside humans, preventing any apocalyptic war from taking place. Knowing that for this future to be sustained, no one must know about the hourglass, and so no one could find the information stored in his memory banks, he decides to throw himself into the bottomless sea of blood so that the world that he knew could live in peace. The next Mortal Kombat character, and once again returning MK9 character, is Sindel. She comes back as a Revenant, but can be customised back to her human form by unlocking her other skins. She has a great moveset inspired by her classic attacks that involve her hair, her Banshee screams, and her Naginata. The second guest character was the Joker, who makes his second appearance in Mortal Kombat after first starring in MK8, with Richard Epcar also returning to voice him. This is without a doubt Joker's most violent video game rendition to date, with him having many deadly moves and fatalities, in which NetherRealm Studio did not hold back, making MK8's Joker look like a children's Saturday morning cartoon in comparison. In the Joker's ending, he forges an alliance with the Cleric of Chaos, Havoc, and together they use the Hourglass to travel to Sado, the Realm of Order, to slaughter their guardsmen led by Hotaru. Joining them is Melina and Su Hao. The final character of Kombat Pack 1 was Spawn, coming from Image Comics and created by writer and artist Todd McFarlane. Spawn was voiced by Keith David, who also played the character in the 90s animated series. Once a decorated soldier in the US military, Al Simmons was killed and resurrected as a Hellspawn, featuring powers claimed from the darkness. Later in 2020, Mortal Kombat 11 would receive its next big update and first ever story expansion. This was revealed to be called Aftermath. Releasing in May of that year, it launched with 3 new playable characters. There was the affable and light-hearted God of Wind Fujin, who hadn't been playable since Mortal Kombat Armageddon, coming with his crossbow and sword that he can command with his wind-based powers. There was Shiva, featuring the same design that she had in the MK11 story mode, coming back as the first queen of the Shao Kahn after Goro's demise. And for the next guest fighter, there was Robocop, with Peter Weller returning to voice the character for the first time since 1990's Robocop 2. Alex Murphy was a decorated police officer, but after being murdered by a local gang, he underwent an experiment that brought him back as an advanced cyborg that goes to any lengths to uphold law and order. When battling Detroit's gang, he discovers their arms dealer and follows him through a portal into the MK universe. There he defeats Kronika and uses her hourglass to see the corruption behind the company that gave him his cybernetic body. Travelling back to his universe with his new Special Forces allies, he wages a war on the corrupt OCP. Aftermath also brought back additional fatalities, such as 3 new stage fatalities, featuring the Bed of Spikes, the Acid Bath, and then a very awesome new one where you slam a Deadly Alliance arcade machine onto your opponent. And it also brought back friendships, which come back for the first time since Mortal Kombat Trilogy.
Friends, Noob Silent wins.
But the biggest addition in Aftermath was the epilogue chapter to the story mode, offering more battles and cutscenes that continue the plot after the events of the base game. After Kronika has been defeated and Mortal Raiden stays with the new fire god Liu Kang to begin a new era, the pair are interrupted by Shang Tsung, Fujin and Nightwolf, who travel out of a portal saying that they were trapped in a timeless void of space by Kronika for refusing to join her. After her death they had been freed. Shang Tsung warns that due to the destruction of Kronika's crown when Liu Kang shattered her into pieces, the hourglass cannot be used to change history without destroying it. He convinces Liu Kang and Raiden to send him, Fujin and Nightwolf back in time to retrieve the crown. Despite Raiden and Fujin's suspicions of Shang Tsung's schemes, Liu Kang agrees and sends the trio back, with him and Raiden staying behind to protect the hourglass. Aftermath is very much a time heist story, and the crown acts as the MacGuffin of the plot. Shang Tsung, Fujin and Nightwolf are transported back halfway through the base game's plot when Kitana and her Outworld followers enter the Colosseum just before Shao Kahn can execute Kotal. The trio attempt to flee undetected, but news spreads of their arrival, prompting Kronika to retaliate. Knowing that Kronika will send the Elder God Cetrion to apprehend them, Shang Tsung comes up with the plan to resurrect Sindel using her Revenant form, deciding she would be great assistance against Cetrion. Having little trust in Shang Tsung, Fujin and Nightwolf follow him anyway to the Netherrealm and capture Sindel's Revenant. Returning to Outworld, Shang Tsung uses Shiva's blood debt to Sindel to gain access to the Soul Chamber and restore Sindel despite dealing with Kitana Khan's objections of Shang Tsung bringing her dead mother back to life once again via necromancy. When Sindel awakes, now free of her submissive control of Quan Chi, she hugs her daughter and tells her how she never committed suicide, but was instead killed by Quan Chi when he felt that she was distracting Shao Kahn. Sindel then accompanies Shang Tsung and the others to his island, poking fun at Raiden, which leads Fujin and Nightwolf to be suspicious of her. The group defeats Kronika's forces and manage to convince present Jax to defect early.
We are strengthened by sentiment. We do not fight to kill enemies. We fight to protect our loved ones. That is why it cuts so deeply when we fail.
Sindel defeats Cetrion as Shang Tsung had hoped, and they capture the crown. Fujin and Shang Tsung next travel to the Fire Garden and must convince Raiden of Shang Tsung's alliance. When Kronika attempts to intervene, Raiden, Fujin and Shang Tsung fend her off. However, she reveals that Shang Tsung was the one who architected the crown to begin with, as a vessel to harness souls. Fujin uses the crown on Kronika, and it ends up in Shang Tsung's hands, but he hands it back to Raiden, further strengthening their trust. This is where the plot does a 180 and reveals that Sindel had been plotting with Shang Tsung all along. She lies to Kitana, goes down into the dungeons, frees Shao Kahn, then when Shiva discovers her true intentions, Sindel murders her and blames her death on Kitana, which rallies the Shokan to Sindel's side. Upon healing Shao Kahn in the Soul Chamber, Geras arrives to take the pair to Kronika, but no longer wanting to work for her, Shao Kahn smashes Geras into giblets. They then head to the Sea of Blood to attack the heroes before they can make it to Kronika's keep, wanting her crown for themselves. Upon their arrival, they ambush the Special Forces, Sonya, Johnny and Cassie. They then attack the ships, throwing Kung Lao into the bottomless ocean, defeating Jade, Kitana and Liu Kang, and even beheading Kotal Khan. Sindel then reveals to her daughter that she had never been brainwashed, and had willingly married Shao Kahn after he conquered her realm by killing her former husband and Kitana's biological father, King Jerrod. Meanwhile, Fujin spearheads the offensive on Kronika's keep, whilst Raiden discovers Shang Tsung's true plot and Sindel's betrayal when fighting Revenant Liu Kang as he begins to receive injuries from his past self. Raiden attempts to stop Shang Tsung, but he arrives too late, and Fujin has already been tricked into giving him the crown. The sorcerer gains Kronika's full power, revealing that he had planned everything after Kronika imprisoned him in the void. He overpowers and drains Raiden and Fujin's souls before using Sindel and Shao Kahn's power to reach the hourglass. Once inside, the trio of villains slaughter Kronika's remaining revenants. Then, when he has no more use of them, Shang Tsung betrays Sindel and Shao Kahn and takes their souls. With only Kronika left, he battles her, and with his newfound power, he manages to defeat her and erases her from existence. As he approaches the hourglass, Fire God Liu Kang appears, revealing that he was aware of Shao Kahn's intentions, and knowing he was the only one strong enough to defeat Kronika, allowed Shang Tsung to stay alive to protect the crown, at the cost of losing his friends. The final battle is a very fitting Liu Kang vs Shang Tsung, reminiscent of the very first Mortal Kombat. The game gives you a choice to choose who you will take control of. The canon ending sees Liu Kang win. He erases Shang Tsung from existence and recovers the crown, with which he gains control over the hourglass and begins forging his new timeline. We then see the time of the founding of the original Shaolin Monks fighting tournament, where Liu Kang visits the temples to begin his training with Kung Lao's ancestor, the Great Kung Lao. And that brings us to the end of 30 plus years of the Mortal Kombat story. A few months after the Aftermath expansion, Mortal Kombat 11 got one final season of DLC in November of 2020. Kombat Pack 2 featured 3 additional new characters. There was the heavily requested Melina, completing the trio of female ninja characters. She was brought forward through time during the Time Merger and is now aware of a tragic future, making her more vengeful than ever before. Demigod Rain is back for a second time as DLC, now with new special attacks that go deeper into his water-based powers. In Rain's tower ending, we learn more about his past when he uses the hourglass to find out his origins. We discover his mother was an Edenian woman called Amara, who had an affair with the god Argus. After birthing a child, Argus got rid of his son out of shame and left him with peasants, telling Amara that he was a stillborn. This news broke Amara's heart, and she died out of grief. In a turn of revenge, Rain kills Argus and his sons Dagon and Taven. And the final guest character was Rambo, coming from the action franchise of the same name. Sylvester Stallone reprised his role for Rambo, providing the likeness and voice performance. John Rambo was a ruthless soldier in the Vietnam War, and he is fit and trained for almost any possible odds that he may face. Upon defeating Kronika, Rambo had secured her power and the hourglass. With it, he felt that he could do some good by rewriting all of the wars throughout history. However, upon coming to the realization that picking and choosing who dies across all of history would make him no better than the men who sent him to war in Vietnam, Rambo decides to leave the role of timekeeper behind and goes back to his peaceful life of solitude. During the release of Kombat Pack 2 in November of 2020, Mortal Kombat 11 saw its second and final re-release. Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, released for the current gen systems PS4, Xbox One and Nintendo Switch, but also released for the brand new next gen consoles, the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X/S, making this the very first Mortal Kombat on the next generation. Ultimate comes with the full game, including all the post-release content and Aftermath expansion, and also came with 4K support on the next-gen platforms. Mortal Kombat 11 was another financial success for the franchise. In the US, it was the best-selling video game in its launch of April and May 2019. By the end of the year, MK11 became the 5th best-selling video game of 2019, and by 2022, it had sold over 15 million units, selling more than MKX and becoming the best-selling entry in the franchise. It won 2 consecutive Fighting Game of the Year awards at the 23rd and 24th Annual DICE Awards, with MK11 Ultimate winning the second year, and even winning the same Fighting Game of the Year at the 2020 Game Awards. Now that's some record-shattering streak for a recent modern fighting game. That being said, the reception was a little more mixed than the previous 2 entries, with critical scores ranging from the 7 to 9 out of 10 mark. Whilst praise was handed to the well-developed high-budget story mode, the new additional gameplay features, deeper tutorials, and the impressive graphics, more people were critical of MK11's deeply embedded microtransaction system and stretched out grinding that took over the customization elements and the crypt. However, despite its criticisms, Mortal Kombat 11 would cement the brand as the best-selling fighting game franchise of all time. With Liu Kang having now completely reset the Mortal Kombat timeline right from scratch, it's very exciting to see where NetherRealm Studios will take this franchise next. Thank you all so much for joining me in this epic journey through the franchise. The support and comments I've received have been amazing, and I'm very grateful for your time. More video game universes will be covered next, but we'll return to Mortal Kombat in September with Mortal Kombat 1 Explained. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.